Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we're back in Medieval 2 Total War, but we're actually in the expansion, the Britannia campaign. So I'm going to be playing some scenario battles here, and I'm going to start with the beach landing, which is basically where the Nords seem to have invaded Wales, and they are attacking from the beach and the Welsh army has come to meet them. So I'm going to be playing as the Welsh. I don't really know why. Both sides seem pretty evenly matched. I just like the fact that Wales have more versatile units. They basically cover the spectrum when it comes down to units. Right, so let's start our deployment. As you can see, here are the Norwegian ships. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and flank, or basically use the width of this beachhead to my advantage. I'm going to set up archers on each of these peaks, coupled with some of these siege equipment, some ballistas, and the rebolt on this side. Put everything on fire at will and take away skirmish. Might as well put some stakes down. They're not going to be used, but you might as well, just in case you want to retreat back. Let's take everybody off skirmish and these onto fire at will, because as long they are basically going to be in line with my troops, so I don't have to worry about friendly fire. So let's get all of my infantry units and just line them up in the center. What I'm going to do is push forward and try and anchor them here to make sure I can't be outflanked by their superior cavalry. So let's get my cavalry lined up as well, and also the skirmishers. Skirmishers are going to go at the front, soak up some cavalry charges if needed, unfortunately for them. Right, let's just set up groups so it's easier to move troops forward. So first of all, we'll walk our infantry up to here. Let's get our archers into position. Shouldn't take too long. And my other archers into position over here. I have to be a little bit closer. There we go. Let's move the rebolt up. The rebolt will be slightly behind my other troops, or just in line, probably just slightly behind though. And my ballistas, they could stay where they are and still be effective, but I want them to be moved up. Just because the ballistas in this game, their accuracy is absolutely abysmal. So I think the closer to the enemy the better, as long as there's no real... there's any real, what's the word? I'm sorry, I'm just lining up my troops here. Real danger to them. So I have created quite a thin line, so I might just want to bunch them up just a little bit, because they do have a lot of cavalry, and their cavalry, even though it's quite light cavalry and coming uphill, it is still quite deadly. Infantry wise, my infantry are pretty standard. They're nothing special, I think is the best word to describe them. My archers are very good. They have extended range since they are longbowmen, and I'm hoping they can sway the battle for me here. I'm going to use my cavalry only basically to counter their cavalry. I'm not going to use them in an aggressive stance. I'm going to use them as a defensive. Just if their cavalry gets behind my men, I can use these in a defensive stance, and if they attack my archers, the same thing. It's basically going to be a quick response to any cavalry charges they can fire at me. So already we have some of my archers shooting. Hopefully they can shoot over this hill. I believe they can. I'm just going to move them up slightly, just so it doesn't become a factor really. I don't want the enemy troops getting here and my archers can't shoot them. I don't know what's happened to my skirmishers, but we'll just move them across, put them centralized. And right, okay. Seems like these... do they have women in there as well? Or are they just men with long hair and beards? I'm not really sure. Like, this one looks like a woman. But no, that's... if there is, that's really cool. The Sethweir, some Welsh word I can't pronounce. Right. So, my archers are firing. The Norwegians are slowly getting up the beach, and when I mean slowly, I mean slowly. They seem to have started rapidly advancing a little bit, at least with their missile men, the crossbowmen. But hopefully, my ballistas, my rebolt, hopefully my rebolt doesn't shoot my own men here. Hopefully they can pick apart the crossbowmen. Can they shoot them? Yeah, we might as well do that. Just get rid of their missile men, just so we can have they can only have their infantry and cavalry left. And my rebolt is firing. Took out a few of my own men there. I probably should have positioned it better. But it looks like we killed some crossbowmen. And here they come. Right. So we have some light cavalry over there. So we use our light cavalry to counter that. Let's countercharge these with some men. And once again the same idea. And basically all we're doing, because we have the advantage, is countercharging. Stay in a defensive stance. There's no need for aggression really. Right, some heavy cav has gone in there, so I'll send in another unit of light cavalry. Some of my skirmishers, they did soak up the hit, but unfortunately a lot of them were killed. Archer wise, I'll tell them to stop and then they can fire on who they want to. They have been hit by some cavalry, but they are now routing. Seems like these men and women have done very well against them, so all I can do is commend them for that. They do have some Gotland footmen who seem to be their heaviest infantry. They look a lot like Zweihanders. Can they run up this hill? Wow, okay, I didn't realise they could do that. That could be a bit of a problem. Their general's bodyguards there, so I'm going to charge in. Maybe come from over here to get a better angle and charge around into their general's bodyguard to see if I can kill their general. Looks like we've cleared up this flank pretty well. Light cavalry was able to deal with their heavy cavalry. Do they have any crossbowmen? Yes they do. So I'll use my light cavalry to go after them. Unfortunately, my light cavalry has decided to charge into some spearmen after running after the routing cavalry. So they've routed. Right. Now my heavy cavalry straight into the side of his general's bodyguard, who have decided to retreat. So we will move back. These skirmishers I'll line up behind. There's only 30 of them, but they might make a difference. You never know. And it looks like my archers on this side have been completely destroyed. But that's fine. We seem to be slightly winning this battle. We've lost exactly the same amount of men, but a lot of my men are routing, but hopefully they'll come back. Their bodyguard is unfortunately doing quite well. My heavy infantry here is fighting some spear militia, so hopefully they can run through them. I have my heavy cavalry here, and it looks like their general's bodyguard has given, well, it's just decided to run straight into my heavy cav. Hopefully my heavy cav can win that battle. If not, I do have my general. Let's just do a little charge into here. Looks like my general's being charged by some heavy infantry. Use my skirmishers to throw a few javelins at them. My archers are still firing, which is great. Unfortunately these ones aren't, so I'm going to have to move them here to get them into range. Their bodyguard has decided to run away. I would too. Let's do a backward charge on them, run away my general, and then once these men are turned because of these cavalry, I will charge into their backs. So come on. Come on. Right, there we go. They have turned around. So now I will charge into their backs, and because they're spread out, hopefully a lot of my cavalry can just run them down. They are heavy infantry, but I'm not worried. They're not spearmen. They don't have a bonus versus. Where did they come from? Sneaky buggers. Oh well. They're only light cavalry. My general should be able to deal with them pretty well. Looks like this heavy infantry is now routing, which is great. And it looks like the enemy general was killed by an archer, I believe. They do still have some sword staff militia, but that's no problem. We'll sort them out ASAP, since a lot of their army is now in a full rout because their general just died. Captain Nud, that's a good name, or a Knud, I suppose. So there's another unit in full rout, and the light cavalry bothering my general is now in rout as well. Lovely jubbly. It looks like the general dying has made the rest of the army rout, so we have won. We did alright there. We could have done better, I suppose, if we took a more aggressive stance, but since we were defending a beach line, I believe just taking a stand worked as well as anything could. And as we can see, it was an average victory. It could have been a better victory, but it doesn't really matter. The longbowmen, as I said, turned the battle. They were going to be the key pinnacle, and they were. So, once again, thank you for watching, and have a great day.